Scene one, take two. Hey, welcome back to Travels with Carl. My name's Rich Van Gogh. I'm a lifelong artist, and this is Carl. He's a 31-foot long motorhome, an Luminolite with a Chevy 454 engine. He's a beast. And this YouTube channel is called Travels with Carl. Now, as you might imagine, let me adjust this just a little bit. I'm cutting off the top of my dome. This is Travels with Carl is a travel channel. It is about me, and it is about Carl, and it is about travel. But more importantly, it's about fine art and what it takes to be an artist or to remain an artist, okay? It's like Picasso said, all children are born artists. The trick is to grow up and remain one. And as you know, I've always said, I wonder if Picasso meant the trick was to grow up and remain a child, or if the trick was to grow up and remain an artist. I'm assuming he meant to grow up and remain an artist. I never got a chance to ask him, but I did both, okay? So Travels with Carl is about art. It's about jobs that I've worked in my life to remain an artist and to be an artist. And I'm talking about the Super Bowl. Speaking of Super Bowl Sunday, which it is, go Seahawks. Not only do I cover each week is an episode, each week is a job, each week is also a painting and a print and a short story. And those at the end of the year become a book, aka 52 Travels with Carl. So last week, I let everybody down and I just had an image of the St. Francis. Same thing this time. I just have an image of my next job. This is job number 26. This is a security officer position at the Westin, Waltham. It's a nice looking glass building. Don't get me wrong. And it's out in the country, absolutely no crime, just a bunch of Canadian geese on the lawn. And I don't think I had one criminal incident the whole time I worked there. But as I got ready to talk about this and finish this, because every week I feel the need to explain what is Travels with Carl. I mean, because it's not Traveling with Kristen, which is one of my favorite YouTube channels. That's all about travel and relocation. Shout out to Kristen Wilson, my homegirl. And, it's not the Daily Beast, Joanna Coles, although I love her and I do get into social political stuff, and will occasionally talk about the Epstein files, okay? And it's not Katie Fang, although I love her, and I will talk about criminal justice and the law, which, doing many years of this in the security business, I learned a little bit about that. But anyway, I do digress. Every week I plug my website, www.vangogh.inc, like Van Gogh Incorporated, only it's not INC, it's INK, like that's the sound of wet ink, in case you're wondering, like printmaker. VanGogh.inc. I have a bachelor's degree in film and video from California College of Arts and Crafts and a master's degree in printmaking from Pacific Northwest College of Art. So I plug my website. You can go there. You can buy all kinds of cool stuff like this. Look at this. I know you're going to dig this. Look at this. Look at that. And look at that. I'm wearing it. Yep, you can go on there. You can buy a t-shirt with some of my art on it. You can go in there and buy a beautiful piece of art on canvas, on paper, on aluminum plate, framed, unframed, shipped right to your door. You don't even have to deal with me. Just go to www.vangogh.ink, and you can buy anything of mine that's on there. And eventually, as I was saying, at the end of these 52 weeks, and this is week number 26, the halfway point, each one of these weeks, I talk about one of the many jobs that I had to support myself as an artist, okay? And I'm talking NFL, Super Bowl, or World Series level art, okay? I'm not talking about making it at the farmer's market or getting into a gallery here and there. I'm talking about, rolling with the whales, with the big dogs, okay? we'll get more into that each episode. But what happened was, as you know, I talk about, you got these ups and downs in life, and these curveballs keep coming, man. And so there I am at the St. Francis. I go, this time I said, well, let me do the right thing. Let me try and get with my wife and get over to Massachusetts and put in for a transfer, since I can go Westin to Westin, no problem now, especially since I got a fat resume now in the hotel business, okay, which, you know, you'll see as we watch. I continue on after this in the hotel world for a while. So this is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be my 5th hotel, and there's many more to go. But what I was hoping to do was transfer from the St. Francis right into my boss there, Bill Aguilera, had written the manual for Westin Hotel Security Department. So, you know, they figure I kind of knew what I was doing, right? Anyway, I digress. I went there, visited my wife, went and interviewed with Mark Beaudry, who was the security director at the time of the Westin Hotel Copley Place, which is a pretty cool hotel. It wasn't anything like the St. Francis. It wasn't a historic hotel, but because it's in Boston, the Marriott, the Sheraton, and the Westin were all connected by a tube between each hotel lobby and this giant Copley Place mall. So during the wintertime or inclement weather, which is like every day in Boston, except for the beautiful spring and summer, you could go inside and shopping and go right from your hotel room right into the mall and back, or go visit another hotel and go have lunch at the Marriott or the Sheraton or the, you know, Copley Place. And so that was kind of cool, but it also was really helpful for criminals because, you know, whenever you have a lot of ins and outs and possibilities of doorways and places to run, you kind of increase the lure for the common thief. So, but instead of Mark Beaudry helping me out, he made me go out here to Waltham, Massachusetts. And I don't know if you've ever been to Massachusetts or Boston, but Waltham is kind of like Watertown. It's a small town. It's got a neat history because it's kind of like the city of industry, or the Industrial Revolution kind of took place there, you know, with the water-powered textile mills and things. I mean, it's got a neat Americana history, but it sure wasn't where I wanted to go. But anyway, I spent about a year there doing hotel security at the Westin Waltham. Okay, so there'll be a print and a painting to accompany that image. I shared a little bit about my book. Go right to Amazon and pick this puppy up. Type in Amendment 21-A in the book section. If it doesn't come right up in there, type in my name, Rich Van Gogh, under author, and it should come up. I've been fighting them because I didn't put a space between the T and the number 21, and that throws off the website sometimes. But today's episode, is brought to you by Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch. Now, what I love about this paint is it's inexpensive. It stands up in weather. It's great for murals and graffiti and anything you want to do outside. But I also like to share a tip because I mentioned I do get social and political a little bit. So say you find yourself out there on the street. You've joined a peaceful protest trying to stand up against ICE or anything that Trump does, but especially right now, this week, I'm going to talk about ICE. Say you go to a peaceful protest and you find yourself, all of a sudden, you're in the middle of a riot. You always want to have a can of paint with you, okay? I'm not kidding. This is your fucking ticket out of a bad scrape, okay? Because you got a bunch of people wearing gas masks. Let's call them Nazis. Let's call them what they are. And they're hosing people down with bear spray and tear gas, okay? Even if you have a mask, they're not going to see this coming, okay? So you can don your mask, put your gas mask on if you want. But if everybody has one of these, again, don't try this if you're the only one out there with a can of spray paint. You want to have about 15 to 30 other people with cans of spray paint. You're going to go up behind the Nazi ice agent, go around him, and then spray the mask, both lenses, completely opaque. He can't see what the fuck is going on now. And I'll tell you what, they're going to come out of that mask real quick because they've just been blinded by the light. Okay, wrapped up like an ice agent, another polar bear at night. Okay, so they're going to take that mask off right away and go, what the fuck? And then you're going to go apply, it says right on here, apply a second coat. Only this time you go right in their eyes, okay? They're going down. But you can also spray it up their nose and in their mouth if they've got their mouth open, crying and trying to breathe in real hard. Give them a good lungful of Rust-Oleum painter's touch. Okay, I like to include a little, sometimes like a field expedient weapon, what we used to call a field expedient weapon in the Army, or a tip for my protesters that are out there, because we got to stand up and fight for your rights, okay? Because the Nazis, they'll have another way if we don't fight them, okay? They'll have us fucked over, trying to take away our rights every day. But let me get back to, okay, enough about Rust-Oleum. Let me get back to this, okay? So what I did while I was out there is I tried to help Bob Malloy, who was the security director at the time. He was a fucking idiot. And you just go, how do people get those jobs when qualified people like me out there can't get a break, okay? I'm out here working as a security officer for this knucklehead, and I worked with the guy that wrote the fucking manual for hotel security for the St. Francis Hotel, for 1,200 room hotel. And Mark Beaudry wants to, I think Mark Beaudry didn't want me to overshadow him. I'll tell you the truth now that some years have gone by. Anyway, it was a kind of a cool building and good food. I did like their food. It was pretty tasty. But what was I going to say? There's not much I can say about it because, there was no crime there. Although I did find a famous musician one day who was not responding, and all the other band members were down in the, this is a jazz player. I'm not going to say his name because he was out for the count. Had a little bottle of hydrocodone beside him on his bed. And when I got to the room, he was just laying there butt-ass naked. And I didn't, thank God I didn't have to do mouth-to-mouth or resuscitate him. I just gave him a good shaking, and he came to. But he was good and drowsy, and, I won't say I saved his life, but I probably saved him and his bandmates catching a flight. Anyway, when I got down to the lobby, I said, yeah, he's awake. I said, I found a bottle of hydrocodone on his nightstand, and the rest of the band was like, this guy's all right, man. We need you, bro. We need you to travel with us. And I'm like, he does this routinely, doesn't he? And they're like, yeah, this is way before Oxycontin hit the stage. But, drugs have been around for a long time. People always do drugs, okay? It doesn't matter what you do to them. You got to read this book. It doesn't matter what you do to them, they're going to do drugs, okay? If putting somebody in prison for life for a little bottle of Vicodin, because you remember 3 strikes and you're out. That's what happened to my man at Kaiser, remember? Yep, they arrested him on his 3rd strike, and he went off to prison and was facing life without the possibility of parole. Okay. Now, you could do that to like somebody like Charlie Manson or, Jeffrey Dahmer, people that chop people up and put them in their freezer and shit like that. You can't do that to somebody because they want to get high, man. because people have been getting high for fucking 5,000 years that we know of, okay? And I'm guaranteeing you that cavemen, if they knew how to catch a buzz, they were catching a buzz. Okay, I've got 26 years clean and sober, okay? I'm saying about me. But let's just say I know a little bit about that subject, okay? And I might as well talk about it a little bit more today because I got nothing to say about this. This job sucked. I met a couple of really cool people there, okay? There's a really cool actor named Ned and another really cool dude, Rich Duca, and another really cool guy who I taught to swim and went to his wedding. Or no, I went to his wedding reception. I went to his wedding. Okay, I had to think about that for a second. And some cool people, okay? A couple of really cool girls at the front desk. One of them was my neighbor. Actually, two of them were my neighbors. And I lived out in this really badass townhouse, 2 stories with a full basement out in Waltham. Oh, and I know what else I was going to say. I ran the Boston Marathon while I was there. Okay, I ran back of the pack. You know what that means. I had a number, but it wasn't like a real number, like they weren't timing me. I mean, they timed me, but I wasn't. Okay, this is a Boston Marathon is one of those marathons that if you want to be a legit runner, you have to qualify for it. And there's no way in hell I would ever qualify for a marathon because I always turn 6 hours. You know, I could run the first half in 2, but the last half always took me 4. But I ran 6 marathons, and that was actually my last one, I think. I might have one more ahead of me. Well, anyway, I had run quite a few in Honolulu, and I did a Tin Man on Maui once, which is like a baby Ironman. You swim, run, and bike. Like I said, when I got out of the Army, I was pretty buff. Crazy as fuck, but I was pretty buff. And yeah, and I'm still in pretty good shape today. 68 years old. Still fighting, man. Still coming out swinging. So, what else do I have to talk about today? Political events are really heating up. I think finally Trump is going to go down. Okay, I think the Epstein, although they keep trying to come up with distractions, it doesn't matter really what they do. It only distracts us for a minute or two. I'm going to turn this heater back on, man. I'm fucking cold. Sorry, I know this is going to make some noise, but it's not that bad. But no matter what Trump does to distract us, and I mean, he's had some good ones. You know, you kidnap the president of Venezuela, you just smoke like 20 people in boats, just vaporize them because they might be trafficking cocaine. You know, you threaten to take over Greenland. You pretty much shoot the United Nations in the foot and threaten to ruin our relationship with NATO. Everybody, every other country in the world now fucking despises us or just thinks we're batshit crazy because they didn't just elect this nut job once. They put him back in again for a second time, man. And for 4 years, he was pretending like he had one when he hadn't. So he's, you know, we're right now, I'm going to count those 4 years. So right now we're like in the 9th year of a fucking Trump nightmare. Okay. Now, if you voted for Trump, that's okay. I don't hate you. Okay. But like they said, when Trump just put out a picture of Michelle and Barack as apes, put their heads on monkey bodies. Have you seen that? Okay. I took that personally because Barack Obama is the first president who, I actually worked on his campaign. I love Barack Obama and his wife, okay? I love Bernie. I worked on his campaigns. Okay, when I say I mean I worked on their campaigns, I mean I phone banked, or I knocked on doors, or I made posters. I got involved, okay? And I used my art, to further my voice, and I mailed a great poster to Bernie to his campaign headquarters. They loved it. I don't know if Bernie ever got it, but I know the campaign headquarters got it. This is a Bernie or riot, which I thought was a riot. Anyway, he just put out an image while he was up at night doing, Trump was up late at night doing cocaine and drinking in bed, eating hamburgers and shit. And he puts out a thing on his Lies social network with Michelle and Barack with their heads on apes. And it was up for 12 hours, okay? One of the commentators said, not everybody that voted for Trump was a racist, but every racist voted for Trump. I think that's a good way to put it, because we have a lot of fucked up people in this country, man. And this election, these two elections, really brought that to the forefront. I mean, if we had any doubt, you shouldn't have any doubts now, okay? We're about to take over the House and the Senate, though, in this next midterm election, and that's going to change things. That's going to bring Trump down. Hopefully, he's going to get arrested in due time, okay? Because he's the first president that's ever been impeached like 15 times. He's the first president that's ever been a convicted felon. He's the first president that was boyfriends with Jeffrey Epstein. More and more is coming out. We know that he raped women, and we know that he was a pedophile, just like Epstein. But I think more is going to come out. I think they probably made smut films and actually killed people and filmed it. We'll see what comes out. It's not good, okay? It's never been good. But for the survivors, and I won't call them victims. They keep calling them victims. They're survivors. For the survivors, I just say, I'm with you, girls and men. I love you, man, and we're going to do everything we can to expose the truth, to expose the perpetrators and bring them to justice if they're still alive, okay? I know I'm probably going to wrap this up a little bit early today because it is Super Bowl Sunday, and although I'm a diehard Niners fan, today I'll pretend that I'm a Seahawks fan because I'm not gonna see the Niners in the end zone today. I know that, so I might as well root for the Seahawks. I am living in Seattle, and you know what? I do love Seattle. Okay, if I wasn't a diehard Niners fan for life, excuse me, I could see rooting for the Seahawks. I mean, they're a good team. So what do you think? Carl's badass, isn't he? I'm about to take the grill off. I got to remove the battery. It's a battery issue, and that battery, well, it's hard to get to. I've never taken the engine compartment off. You can see it over there, right? That carpeted area right there. That's just like a 40 kind of line. You open that thing up, the engine's right there. I got a little power steering issue that I got to fix. I'm not going anywhere until spring or summer. Right now I'm trimming my plum tree and my pear tree in the backyard, okay? Because they were just out of control. They had done some nice work on this yard where I'm living, but they really let some of the stuff go. Like they never trimmed these trees, and I could barely pick the fruit off the golden plum tree. And I think the pear tree, it might be a goner, but I'm going to bob it down and see if it grows back, because it's showing some signs on the trunk that there might be bark beetles or something. Yeah, we'll see. But I just want to say that I love you guys. Thanks for following along with Travels with Carl. And if you can like and subscribe and share it, I would appreciate it, because I'm trying to monetize this website and YouTube channel, and have it help me in my senior years as I'm off to Portugal to grow cherries. Okay, we're about to put 170 trees in the ground. Had some weathers, had a storm over there, had a couple of days where it nipped right around freezing. A bunch of excuses from the people that are supposed to be putting the trees in the ground, but I've got space and holes dug for about 170 trees. When I get over there this summer, I'm going to clear enough land to probably put in 400 or 500 more. And I'm trying to buy the farm that's next to mine, because it just came on the market. I haven't even been able to get anybody to go over there and see what they want for it. But it doesn't have a stone house on it, so it should be a lot cheaper than the one that I bought. But I'm working on my D7 visa. I've got a residence over there. I've got enough recurring income to qualify for the visa, and I've already got my NIF number and a bank account. So all I have to do is put about 10 or 12 grand in the bank account and let that sit there, so that when I apply for the visa, they'll go, oh, he's got enough money to live on for a year there, because you can live on that for a year in Portugal. And then I got to do my fingerprints again. I may be able to use, I just had a set done, I may be able to use them again. And I've got to have an FBI background criminal investigation done, which I won't have any problem passing that. And then I just apply for the D7 visa, which will give me a visa for 5 years. Okay, and I don't even have to visit the consulate in San Francisco. That's my closest Portuguese consulate. I don't even have to go there. I can do it all and have an apostille done, and all that from here. Just mail it in there, and it doesn't really cost anything, hardly. Maybe some small minor charges, but pretty good deal, because I want to have a visa so I can just stay over there at some point. But that won't be for a while. Okay, I'm not going to renounce my U.S. citizenship unless it comes to that. We'll see, because we're on a trip before together that we've never been on with the Trumpster. Okay, we're headed down a fucking dead end street. Okay, we're headed down a dark alley at night. Okay, so you got to get ready. This shit is getting fucked up over here in the USA, baby. But that being said, enjoy the game today. Go Seahawks. Enjoy your snacks and stuff, and I'll see you at the game. Let's ride, baby. Let's ride.
Surrounded by the bees, the birds and the breeze, his motor home in the woods where creativity sees. Sun will abode, colors come alive on canvas. He paints, pressing on his drive with the spirits of the woods. He dances in delight, creating masterpieces every single night.